Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I want to talk about companies that I really don't touch on a lot. I'm going to be talking about Canopy Growth Company and also Aurora Cannabis. I want to explain to you guys why I don't really see a future for these companies and why I'm waiting for a better opportunity to invest in the marijuana industry, even though I am bullish on marijuana continuing to grow. So if you've been following this company over the last few years, you know it's been a pretty rocky ride here, and ever since COVID started, these companies started rallying very strongly, but pulled back, and very rightly pulled back, because if you guys have actually been following these companies since they originally IPO'd, you know that they had a lot of hype around them, like we've seen with a lot of this EV sector. But unfortunately, as more and more people started looking at the financials of these companies, they realized that there was just too many players in the industry, and it's going to be hard for a single company like ACB or like CGC to really dominate this market, and as such, it makes it hard for the stock prices of these individual companies to continue growing, even though we know that they cannot go on to dominate the market. So with a company like CGC, yeah, they might be doing well, they might be doing better during the virus, etc., with people at home and enjoying themselves, but unfortunately, this doesn't mean that the company is going to be worth $100 a share, and especially not over the long run. And we've seen a lot of other companies in this same industry really take a fall and become bankrupt because of these same type of practices that we're seeing with CGC and ACB, where they really want to flood the market with the cheapest kind of cannabis, and this is not great for consumers or for the long-term growth of these companies or the sector. So even though we've seen a lot of bullish news for these companies over the last few days, including the Congress decision to potentially accept weed on a federal level, that's going to be pretty big in moving these stocks to the upside. And we've also seen a second wave of COVID. We're seeing a second COVID, possibly a second strain coming out of UK, which seems to be even more contagious. And what this would mean for consumers is that they are going to potentially be at home for even longer. But you can see that these stocks have not been able to make another move to the upside, and instead are looking like they are about to sell. Now, the company CGC, they are below the 200 EMA, which represents a downturn for these stocks. It's going to represent more selling in the long term, especially over the next 200 days, which is basically what this indicator tries to show us, is the long-term price action on the company. And as you can see, we have broken below. So the next thing that I'm going to be watching is the 50 EMA, which is this darker blue line that has been following the stock. And what this second line shows us is what the price action is doing over the short run. Now, you can see that the price action, or the blue 50 EMA line, is also in a downwards direction in the short run. And ultimately, I'm watching to see whether the 50 EMA can cross below the 200 EMA, because that will be the most bearish sign and the confirmation showing us that this stock is ultimately in a downwards direction and looking to continue downwards for a longer period of time. Now, if the stock is able to find support, if they are able to see the 50 EMA bounce from the 200 and continue back upwards, then that would be a very bullish sign for this stock. I really don't think that they can travel higher than $30 to $35, because it is basically all based around hype. We haven't seen these companies drop an earnings report for a long time, and I think that a lot of people were kind of underwhelmed with what happened last time. Even though it was better than expected, I don't think that they will be doing this 2 times in a row or even 3 times in a row, which will be what's necessary for these companies to really start on a long-term growth potential and trajectory. So that's ultimately what I'm going to be watching over the next few days with these companies, ACB and CGC. I try to stay away from these marijuana related companies because they have a lot of stigma in the stock market, and they don't get as much volume as other regular companies because people just simply don't like it. Now, I'm not in that same boat. If I see a trading opportunity, obviously I'm going to hop in and take advantage of whatever's happening with the price action. But I know that a lot of people don't like to hop in on these companies, and for that reason, it makes it harder for these companies to really break above support or break below resistance and show us these great opportunities to trade. So I try to stay away unless it is super obvious. Like I said, if the 50 EMA breaks below the 200 EMA, that will be what I call extremely obvious of a downtrend on these stocks, and potentially a test all the way back to $20 flat, which is where we did jump up from during the earnings date, which, like I explained, was a little bit better than expected, but was still overwhelming for the long-term success of these companies. So I also said I'm going to be taking a look at ACB. They are in a similar way. You can see that they were trading between $10 and $12 very strongly, but have since broken out of that range and are now looking to come below the 200 EMA, and the 50 EMA is also looking to break below. So this is a very similar situation to CGC, Cannabis Growth, and I think that these two companies actually tend to trade in the same manner. If one of them is going up on a certain day, the other one tends to also be going up, and this also feeds further into my point that these companies are not as unique as people think. And even though you might be a fan of ACB or CGC, it doesn't mean that the market is seeing it that way. And I really don't think that any of these companies that we have present right now on the stock market are going to be the next huge cannabis giant like we've seen with Apple or Amazon or Tesla, whatever, for their respective sectors. So I'm really waiting for another cannabis play to come onto the stock market. I hope that they will be a better company with a potentially better position to really dominate in the real world and dominate this industry, which is a growing industry and which is constantly getting more accepted and more legalized worldwide. So I think that these companies could see an opportunity to continue running maybe a little bit, but ultimately I am long-term bearish on these companies. I don't think that they will see a valuation higher than $15 to $20 for ACB or higher than $30 to $35 for CGC. So ultimately, guys, I am very bullish on these companies. I don't recommend buying them, especially not long-term, because I think that there will be another stock market or another stock to come on the market related to cannabis and be much stronger, in a much stronger position, or maybe even a much stronger price to buy in at for this company. So I'm going to be waiting long term, see if there's another play coming out for these companies, but I will not be investing into CGC or ACB unless I see them break below this 200 EMA with the 50 EMA, which would be a confirmation of long-term downtrend. So maybe I would try to catch some shorter term puts aiming to around that $20 level on CGC, like I explained. So that will be my play that I'm watching to make with these companies, but ultimately I will not be trading these companies, and especially not in the long term, as I do not see them having a lot more growth over the next few days, especially after the hype for this cannabis news has passed, and especially now that we look to be getting closer to really reopening a lot of economies, even though we have gotten this news of a more severe, more contagious COVID-19. So guys, just keep a close eye out on these stocks. As always, there are a lot of opportunities to trade, even with the market selling off so strongly today, like we've seen. We saw plays like Tattoo Chef and Vroom doing very good, doing at least okay. And on the Discord, actually around 30 minutes ago, I announced a play on AMD, which should be sitting at around 25% profits. So congratulations to anybody who took that trade. And if you want to join the Discord for absolutely free, we have daily plays and signals in there, and over 150 members now, growing on a daily basis. So if you guys want to take advantage of that, don't forget to click the link down in the description below. And if you also want to check out TradingView, which is the link that you are seeing right now, the platform that I'm using to trade, see these live price datas and all these trends and analyses, that's going to be tradingview.com. And you can also get the link to sign up for completely free through the link down in the description below, guys. So if any of that interests you, don't forget to check it out. As always, thank you so much for the support. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to keep getting content like this on a daily basis. And as always, guys, I hope all your plays are in the green.